Good morning. All right, so I already rolled over to the M contract. So this new chart is back adjusted to the new M contract, which the reason I back adjust is so that I can see the reference with previous sessions. Some people choose not to do it. It's a personal preference. I choose to do it just so that I can see, okay, well, in reference, like when we're trading in relationship to previous highs, lows, gaps, etc., I can see it in this chart. If I had a non-back adjusted chart, I would see a big gap, and I don't have much to the left, or whatever I have to the left is gonna be off balance. I would just to call it one way, but basically that's the reason why I choose to do it this way. So if we look at it that way, we also are gonna be more in sync with SPX and SPY, which they don't have a gap, right? So right now we're seeing that we have 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth day of balance. We have these three highs, a few attempts to fill the gap, which hasn't filled yet. It fills at 67.99 and a half. But now we were trading the whole overnight. We attempted to go lower into Friday's value. We were holding for a little, then we found buyers, and now we broke out this morning. Swept through value area from yesterday, and now we're going towards those highs. It looks like this is looking again like it wants to fill the gap. So let's see if we finally get that gap fill. Now, if we fill the gap, you see this little bit of a low volume node there. So I'm expecting some sellers there after the gap fill. But if we do not get sellers there, then I'm looking for the value area sweep into Wednesday's value area high, which is up here at the, what's the number, 68.33 area, and then see if we can continue into this high volume node, and then 68.60 is my higher target. That's where I expect some sellers to show up at that low volume area, and that's the spike from this session, from Wednesday session. Obviously, if from there we keep squeezing, which I don't know, but if we get from here to there today, I think the rally is gonna stop. I mean, 70, we could go to 70, break this high, and then find sellers there. But that's the first spot that I would be thinking that strong sellers would show up at the 60 area. What I was saying is that if we do keep seeing buyers, then we have the quarterly pivot area, which also is the yearly VWAP, and that area will be stronger resistance. Now, if for some reason we start reversing, and then whether it happens after filling up the gap or before filling the gap, I'll be looking at yesterday's value as the next area to pay attention to see if we bounce here at value area high from yesterday, or if we accept inside value area and then go towards value area low, which is let me see what the exact levels are. So 67.64 towards 67.47, which is value area low from yesterday. And then from there, watch for continuation into the overnight low, and then see if we can get the value sweep from Friday's session, which we haven't gotten yet, and then retest the lows from the previous weeks. This previous week low, which is Friday's low, had the close right there, so it's kind of a weak low Also, we never retested that overnight session low. So I think these lows are still vulnerable, even though right now we're looking a little bullish. I think these lows are vulnerable. So in the event that bulls cannot keep the control right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we come down all the way to the bottom of the range. So keep all that in mind, because things can change quickly, especially with headlines. Also we still are in the process of rolling over contracts, so price action could be a little strange at times when the rollovers are ongoing, and the full rollover contract finishes on Friday. So I'm already quoting the new contract because we have way more volume in the front month. Right now we have let me see, we have about 1/3, I think less than about 1/3 of the volume in the front month, and the rest in the M contract. So we still have pretty decent volume in the front month, even though we have 3 days left. So, but all those, whoever's holding that needs to roll over, is going to be forced to roll over by Friday. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's it for ES. And Q also very similar structure. Look how these 4 days, 4 sessions are, and then the gap fills at 25.85, and then the 20-day point of control is right there at 25.200. So that's a target on the upside in case NQ fills the gap and holds inside Wednesday's session. If it fails, the target is here at 24,890. That's the 5-day point of control. So that's where we would have that magnet on the short term for this if we fail to hold higher. Both silver and gold seem to be turning around after those one-time framing down sessions from these highs. They both seem to be catching a little bit of a turn. We'll see what happens with that. We have FOMC tomorrow, so usually gold and silver move with the FOMC, into the FOMC and after the FOMC announcement. Crude was still paying attention to crude because, of course, everything that's going on in the Middle East. The spreads that I'm looking at are not as they're like, remember I mentioned yesterday the backwardation, how the back month is cheaper than the front month. Now the spread is less wide, a little bit less wide than yesterday. So things might be, markets might be expecting this conflict to start resolving soon, or at least slowing down or something, because that's what they're pricing. So keep an eye still on crude, because if you see a jump in crude, then that'll be, it's kind of like looking at volatility nowadays. High crude moving up, you might see indices and stocks moving down, so, and vice versa. What else? I think that's about it for today. We have today we don't have that many news, but Trump is talking today, and there's a 20-year bond auction at 1, and then tomorrow we have PPI and core PPI. All right, let's see what the 9:30 open brings.
Gold volume